Hello everybody, welcome to NEET Crash Course Biology. So we will now be discussing the practice questions. The first chapter we will be dealing with is reproduction in organisms. Vegetative reproduction, vegetative propagation through budding occurs in. Now, mostly when you use the word vegetative propagation, it mostly refers to the higher plants. So, the correct answer is agave because agave produces bulbils, and bulbils are nothing but the floral buds. It can be considered as a mode of budding. So, therefore, the correct answer should be agave. So, it is option B. The second question says gemme are means of vegetative reproduction in. Now gemme are asexual structure, lens-shaped asexual multicellular structures which are found in bryophytes. The best example is Marchantia. Marchantia is a dioecious thallus. There is a separate male and female. So the correct answer is Marchantia. The third question says which root will form a new root. Now basically roots can develop buds on them which can also act as a means of vegetative propagation. So it is seen in both sweet potato as well as dahlia. So roots are capable of reproduction. They are capable of producing new plants. So it is third option. The next question says isogametes are. Iso means alike, similar. So as the name itself indicates, isogametes look exactly alike to each other and therefore they are morphologically similar gametes. Next question says which of the following is not a type of grafting? Now among all the types, wedge is a type of grafting, whip is a type of grafting, crown grafting, but the last word, that is micropropagation, is another word for plant tissue culture. So it is not a type of vegetative propagation which is artificially done in plants such as grafting. So the answer is micropropagation. So please remember, micropropagation actually refers to plant tissue culture. The next question says girdling cannot be performed in sugarcane. Now girdling is where you remove a strip of bark from a particular from the trunk or the branch of a tree, and along with the bark you are removing the phloem tissue and you are exposing the xylem in the center. This you cannot do in case of sugarcane because remember, sugarcane is a monocot. In monocot stem the vascular bundles are scattered. It has a stele called atactostele. In case of dicot, you know that how the xylem and phloem are present in the central cylinder, but this kind of organization is not seen in monocot stem. That means the vascular bundles are scattered, so you cannot remove a strip of phloem like how you could do in case of a dicot plant. So the correct answer is option A. The next question says potatoes are cultivated by. Now you know that potato is a stem tuber and you know that there are eyes on the tuber and those eyes represent the buds on the tuber. So actually you can propagate them by sowing this potato tuber, by placing it or by burying it in the soil, and in no time you will see that new plants start developing from the buds or the eyes which are dormant in the potato tuber. So it is the third option. The next question says the fruiting bodies where asci are produced. Now asci are nothing but cells which bear spores which are called ascospores, and this is found in the class in kingdom Mycota, that is fungi, and asci are specialized cells which are grouped into fruiting bodies which are referred to as ascocarp, and it is seen in a group or division under kingdom Mycota that is called Ascomycetes. So the correct answer is ascocarp. The ninth question says which of the following process ensures continuity of life on earth? Obviously it is reproduction. So reproduction where the parents produce offsprings which are similar to the parents, and that ensures that there is continuity of species on this planet. The 10th question says which of the following unicellular organism has macronucleus? That means it exhibits nuclear dimorphism. There is one nucleus which is larger in size called macronucleus, whose function is feeding, trophic function, to take care of all the activities of the cell, including the process of digesting the food and its distribution of nutrients, etc. And this cell has another tiny nucleus that is called the micronucleus, which is meant for reproduction, and this is seen in a protozoan which is referred to as paramecium. So all of you please remember that paramecium or slipper animalcule is a protozoan which exhibits two different types of nuclei in its cell. So it is binucleate and it exhibits nuclear dimorphism. Okay. The next question, the 11th question says development of a sporophyte directly from the gametophytic tissue. We had learned this in sexual reproduction. Now, when a sporophytic tissue develops from a haploid tissue of a gametophyte, it is a type of non-recurrent apomixis or non-recurrent agamospermy. And when it is developing from a gametophytic tissue other than the egg, say for example the synergid develops into an embryo or the antipodal develops into an embryo, then it is referred to as apogamy. So please remember the answer here is apogamy because they have generally mentioned gametophytic tissue. If they had mentioned that the egg in the embryo sac or the gametophyte, when it gives rise to an embryo, then we refer to this as haploid parthenogenesis. So remember, both apogamy and haploid parthenogenesis are a type of non-recurrent apomixis or agamospermy, where the embryo sac is developed through meiosis and the cells of the embryo sac develop into the embryo or give rise to the sporophytic tissue, which is sterile because the cells of the embryo sac here are haploid. So the answer is apogamy. 12th question says binary fission. Now the first thing that comes to your mind in binary fission is bacteria. The most primitive form of binary fission is seen in bacteria, correct? How do you define binary fission? Binary fission is where one cell splits into two. So the correct answer is second option. 13th question says air layering or guti. We had discussed air layering where you strip the bark of a branch and then you expose the xylem, the central cylinder, and then you cover it with wet clay. You add auxins as a rooting hormone and you cover it with a polythene bag, and in no time the roots will start appearing. This kind of air layering is very, very common in lemon. It is routinely carried out in lemon. It is a type of vegetative, artificial vegetative propagation. Ginger is multiplied by, now ginger, as you all know, ginger is an underground stem. The ginger that we consume, it is referred to as rhizome. So here in the given options, none of them is mentioned as rhizome. So obviously the correct answer would be none of the above. So please remember, ginger is an example for a vegetative propagule that is referred to as rhizome. 15th question says a piece of the plant part. We had discussed about tissue culture. Tissue culture was also referred to as micropropagation. Now for tissue culture, you take a sample of a tissue, a sample of a part of a plant to propagate it, and this part of a plant that is propagated through tissue culture is referred to as explant. So the correct answer to the question is explant. So now we have completed the questions from reproduction in organisms. Now we are going to move on to the next chapter, that is sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Assertion says, question number 1, assertion says endosperm is a structure containing 3 complete sets. Absolutely right, because we know that endosperm is a product of triple fusion. It is obviously made up of triploid cells. The second one, the reason says endosperm is formed after the fusion of the secondary nucleus, which is a diploid nucleus, with the male gamete, which is haploid. So 2n plus n is equal to 3n. So both the statements are correct and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. So the correct answer to this question is option A. Question 2 says long ribbon-like pollen. Now long ribbon-like pollen is a feature of marine grass, that is Zostera, which undergoes pollination underwater, not at the surface of water. So the correct answer here is you find this kind of ribbon-like pollen in an aquatic plant. So the correct answer is aquatic plant. To be very specific, it is seen in plant called the marine grass, or which is also called the tape grass. It is scientifically referred to as Zostera. Third question says pericarp. Now pericarp is nothing but the fruit wall. We had discussed about true fruits and false fruits. So true fruits have a pericarp or the fruit wall that actually develop from the wall of the ovary. So the correct answer is the second option. All of you should remember one thing: the ovule that is inside the ovary develops into the seed, and the wall of the ovary develops into the fruit wall. The fruit wall is referred to as the pericarp. Fourth question says entry of pollen tube into the ovule through the micropyle. See, there are different ways or different paths that the pollen tube can take. If it passes through the integument, it is called mesogamy. If it passes through the chalaza, it is called chalazogamy. If the pollen tube pierces the ovule through the micropyle, then the correct answer is it is referred to as porogamy. Fifth question says ovule integument. What happens to the ovule integument once the ovule transforms into the seed? The ovule integument, please remember the ovule has two integuments. It is called bitegmic. So this bitegmic integument transforms itself into the seed coat. So the correct answer is the seed coat. You all know that there are two layers in the seed coat. The outer testa and the inner tegmen, and both of them come from the ovule integument. Apomictic embryos in citrus. Now, when you remember about citrus, first thing you should remember is that more than one embryos or polyembryony is occurring, but embryos develop from the sporophytic tissue such as the diploid nuclear tissue and the integument tissue. So here the correct answer is maternal sporophytic tissue in the ovule. Always remember this type of embryony, polyembryony, where the embryos develop from the sporophytic tissue such as the nucellus and the integument. Other than the embryo sac, it is referred to as adventive polyembryony. So the correct name is adventive polyembryony. Why is the name apomictic given? Because apomixis is a phenomenon where a seed is formed, an embryo is formed without the fusion of gametes, without the process of syngamy or fertilization. So the correct answer is maternal sporophyte. All of you please bear in mind maternal tissues include the nuclear diploid tissue and the tissue which makes up the integument of the ovule. The seventh question says endosperms consumed by the developing embryo in the seeds of. Now, there are some seeds where the seeds become mature. You will not find any residual endosperm in them. That is because the embryo that was growing in the seed has used up all the endosperm, and that is in the case of pea, groundnut, bean, etc. So please remember these are the seeds which when they mature you will not find any endosperm in them. So you will call these seeds as non-endospermous or non-albuminous seeds. Unisexuality of flowers, that means a flower either bears the male part, that is the stamen, or it bears the female part, that is the pistil. So obviously when a flower is unisexual, then you cannot expect autogamy. Autogamy will not happen. But if there are two unisexual flowers on the neighboring branches of the same plant, then pollination can happen between them. So like for example in the maize plant, you have male flowers at the top of the plant and female flowers towards the base of the stem. So of course, if the flower is unisexual, you can prevent autogamy, but you cannot prevent geitonogamy between neighboring flowers. So the correct answer is option A. What does the filiform? The question 9 says filiform apparatus. All of you please remember filiform apparatus is our foldings which are found in the cell wall of the synergids. Their main function is to guide the pollen tube from the synergid to the egg. So all of you should remember, sorry, it is not this, it is option A. It helps in the entry of the pollen tube into the synergid. So you all know that the pollen tube is the one that first penetrates into the synergid through the filiform apparatus, and it delivers the male gametes inside the degenerating synergid, which then makes its way into the egg nucleus and the polar nuclei. So the correct answer is it helps in the entry of pollen tube into the synergid. 10th question says the arrangement of the nuclei in a normal embryo sac. So in a normal embryo sac, you have 3 antipodals at the chalazal end. So 3 plus 2 polar nuclei at the center in the central cell. So plus 2 plus 3 2 synergids and 1 egg, that is the egg apparatus to the micropyle, that is 3. So it is 3 plus 2 plus 3, which is the correct arrangement of the nuclei in a typical 7-celled 8-nucleate embryo sac. Chiropterophily refers to pollination by bat. So the correct answer is option A. Largest amount of pollen. In which type of pollination do you think largest amount of pollen is carried? That is because why should the plant produce largest amount of pollen? To increase the chances of pollination, and this is seen in anemophily. The kind of pollination that is mediated by wind is referred to as anemophily. So the correct answer is option C. The 13th question says parthenogenesis is a term for. Now, parthenogenesis is actually a term of asexual reproduction. Why do we call it as asexual reproduction? Because even though it may involve gametes, there is no fusion of gametes, there is no zygote formation, there is no two parent involved over here. It is uniparental. So, parthenogenesis is a term that is used for asexual reproduction. I hope you know the meaning of parthenogenesis, where the egg develops into an embryo without fusion with the sperm, without the process of fertilization. Now match the following. Now the first thing that comes to your mind when I say ovule is, after fertilization the ovule transforms into a seed. So option A, the first A matches with 3 in the column 2. In column 1, funiculus. Funiculus sometimes may show, the funiculus is the stalk of the ovule, may sometimes show fleshy outgrowths which may cover the seed, like in the case of lychee, like in the case of lychee is the best example actually. Even nutmeg is an example where there's a covering of fleshy tissue called aril on the surface of the seed, and this is nothing but emerging from the funiculus of the ovule after fertilization. Then this should be nucellus. There is a spelling error here. Nucellus, if it remains in the mature seed, then it is referred to as the perisperm. So it is C4, and polar nuclei contribute towards the formation of endosperm. So it is D1. So the correct answer is option C. The number of chromosomes in the endosperm cell is 36. That means 3n is equal to 36. How do we know 3n? Because endosperm is triploid. If 3n is equal to 36, that means n number, haploid number, 3n means 3 sets are there. If 3 sets are 36, then 1 set is equal to 12, and they are asking about the root tip cell. A root tip cell is diploid. So 2n will be equal to 12 plus 12, that is equal to 24. So the correct answer here is 24, because the root tip cell is nothing but a diploid cell. So first you should realize an endosperm cell is triploid, then you should deduce the haploid number, and then you should see which cell are they asking about. Here they are asking about the root tip cell, so it must be diploid. So the answer is 24. So with that we complete sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Now we will move on to the questions from the chapter, that is human reproduction. In human reproduction, the first question says failure of testis to descend in the scrotum. I hope you all are aware that the testis is suspended in the scrotum so that the temperature is maintained about 2 to 2.5 degree lesser than the body temperature, so that normal spermatogenesis can happen. So this, if it fails to happen, it causes a birth defect which is referred to as cryptorchidism. Undescended testis or cryptorchidism, which can be surgically corrected, is the correct answer to this question. The second question says mesorchium. Now mesorchium comes into picture in the frogs. In the male frogs, mesorchium is a double folded peritoneum which connects the testis to the kidney, especially with respect to the male frog. So remember, mesorchium is with reference to the male adult male frog, where there is a connection between the testis and the kidney. So the correct answer is option C. Sertoli cells are found. Now, where do you find Sertoli cells? Now, Sertoli cells are found in the seminiferous tubule, in the germinal epithelium, in the outermost layer, peripheral layer of cells in the germinal epithelium of the seminiferous tubule. So, the correct answer is option D. Seminal fluid contains secretion of. Now, seminal fluid is nothing but a secretion of all the male accessory sex glands. So, if you look at all the options, it is the last option which includes all the male accessory glands, a pair of seminal vesicle, a single prostate gland, and a pair of Cowper or bulbourethral gland. That's why the answer is D. Fifth question says, which one is an unpaired gland? Just now we had discussed with you that among all the three accessory glands in the male reproductive system. The unpaired gland is nothing but the prostate gland. So the correct answer is option C, that is the prostate gland. At what speed does a human sperm move in the female reproductive tract? On an average, it is 3 to 5 millimeter per minute. So among the given options, the first option is the correct answer to the speed with which the human sperm travels in the female reproductive tract. The seventh question says acrosome. Acrosome is a sac-like structure sitting in the head of the nucleus above the sitting in the head of the sperm above the nucleus. All of you bear in mind that acrosome contains hydrolytic enzymes in it, which will help the sperm penetrate the egg membranes. And this acrosome is derived from the Golgi apparatus of the spermatid. During the transformation of the spermatid to the sperm called spermiogenesis, the Golgi apparatus in the spermatid transforms into the acrosome. So the correct answer is option D. The eighth question says, which of the following is incorrect? Now, among all the important statements, the first statement says the menstrual fluid can clot. Then during menstruation, about 40 ml of blood is lost. The beginning of the cycle is called menarche. At menopause, there is increase in gonadotropic hormone. All except the first statement, because menstrual fluid does not clot. If it clots, then it cannot flow out. It will just get collected in the uterus, which is not good because it leads to infection. So as a result, as soon as the endometrium gets slugged off, gets disintegrated, the blood has to pass out of the vagina, pass out of the uterus, and as a result of which it should not clot. So the incorrect statement is option A. The ninth question is asking you the correct sequence of embryonic development. You all know the first stage in our life is fertilization. So fertilization results in the formation of zygote. See, fertilization results in the zygote. The zygote starts undergoing repeated mitotic divisions called cleavage. The cleavage results in a solid ball of cells called morula. The morula develops into a hollow ball of cells called blastula. The blastula develops the 3 germ layers, which is referred to as, now the embryo with the 3 germ layers is referred to as the gastrula. So the correct answer is the second option. The 10th question says the first movements of the fetus and appearance of the hair on its head is usually observed. This is a factual question. It is observed during the 5th month of pregnancy. Where does the signal for parturition arise from? The 11th question talks about parturition and the origin of its signal. All of you please remember, for the fetal ejection reflex to be originated, there should be a fully developed fetus as well as the mature placenta, which triggers mild uterine contractions, isn't it? So it is option C, which is the correct answer for this question. The 12th question says the main function of fimbriae. Now fimbriae are finger-like projections which are present along the free margins of the first part of the fallopian tube, which is referred to as the infundibulum. What is the job of the fimbriae? It is to pick up the egg that is released by the ovary during ovulation. So the correct answer is the last option. It helps in collection of the ovum after ovulation. The principal tail piece of the human sperm, all of you should remember that the human sperm in the tail region consists of a backbone which is called the axial filament, which is nothing but having a flagellar core, and the flagellar core, as you all know, has a typical 9 peripheral microtubule doublets plus 2 central microtubule singlet arrangement. So 9 plus 2 classical arrangement can be seen in the axial filament of the human sperm tail. Okay. Menstrual flow occurs due to the lack of. Now obviously during menstrual flow, you can imagine it is because the endometrium has become disintegrated. So they're asking what causes the disintegration of the endometrium. The correct answer is a sudden drop in the level of progesterone. I hope you all remember this sudden drop of progesterone level is due to the death of the corpus luteum during the last few days of the menstrual cycle, because fertilization or conception did not happen. The 15th question is vasa efferentia. Vasa efferentia connects the testis with the epididymis. To be very precise, the vasa efferentia are the ones which are found between the reti testis and the epididymis. So they deliver the sperm from the reti testis, which is a network of tubules which is located in the mediastinum testis, and that is the structure which delivers the sperm from the rete testis to the epididymis. But here they have just mentioned testis with epididymis, so that is the correct answer. So now the last chapter in this set, that is reproductive health. The first question says the pills mostly used for birth control, which are contraceptive pills. As you all are aware, pills employ both estrogen and progestogen. Sometimes they may include estrogen alone, sometimes it may include progestogen alone, or it may be progestogen estrogen combinations. So in this case, according to the given options, 1 and 2 are both correct because the pills may contain a combination of progestogen and estrogen. Condom is a safeguard against infections of, it actually protects a person from all the sexually transmitted diseases, so it is all of these. What is the correct surgical method for preventing pregnancy in which the vas deferens is cut? That means they are talking about the terminal method of contraception or sterilization, which is usually done on male body because vas deferens is cut and tied. So the correct answer is vasectomy. So remember, vasectomy is the terminal method of contraception in case of males. The fourth question says identify the odd one. Now how do we identify the odd one? Vault is a mechanical barrier. Periodic abstinence is a natural method of contraception. IUD is a mechanical device, and diaphragm is a mechanical barrier again. So the odd one out among all the following is the periodic abstinence, because this is not a mechanical device or a barrier method of family planning method or a contraception. This is a natural or a traditional method of contraception, so it is option B. The fifth question is asking us, according to 2011 census, which state has the highest density? So as per the 2011 census, it was identified that Bihar has the highest number of people per square kilometer, and that means it has the highest density of population in our country. AIDS stands for, the sixth question is about AIDS. Now you all know the full form of AIDS. It is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. So it is option A. In India, the seventh question says, in India, human population is higher because number of age group, the people in the younger age group are more higher. Now this is because we have a short lifespan and we have a very high birth rate, and as a result of which we are producing more number of children who will very soon be in the younger age group people. Okay? And also the older age group is being eliminated because of a shorter lifespan. So the option B is the correct answer. Study of human population is referred to as demography. A very simple question. Medical termination of pregnancy is permitted up to, there is no limit to medical termination of pregnancy, because when it comes to saving the life of the mother, at any point if the doctor deems that there is something wrong with the pregnancy, and immediately it has to be terminated. Of course it is safe up to the second trimester, but here they are talking about the permission. Of course, when the situation demands and when the mother's life is in question, it can be extended up to the third trimester. There is no periodic limit for medical termination of pregnancy. So the correct answer is up to the third trimester. Sexually transmitted diseases are syphilis and gonorrhea. Cholera is not a sexually transmitted disease. It is transmitted through contaminated water, a fecal-oral route. So both A and B are sexually transmitted diseases. 11th question says the apparent failure of couple to conceive. A couple is unable to produce children, and this is what is referred to as infertility. So infertility refers to inability to produce children in spite of 2 years of unprotected cohabitation. The 12th question says the permanent method of birth control. Remember, permanent means reversibility is poor. It is also called the terminal method of birth control, or simply referred to as the sterilization technique. The terminal method of birth control in man. So it's important to see the question properly. In man, it is vasectomy. So the correct answer is option A. We already discussed that the vas difference is cut and tied. 13th question, cause of the world population explosion. Of course, it is better healthcare, improvement in the quality of living. Better healthcare, better medical facilities is one of the major causes for a rapid spike or a surge in the world population growth rate, and that's why it is called a cause for world population explosion. So it is option A. The 14th question says population explosion in India is mainly due to, don't you think that mainly population explosion is because of lack of awareness among people? So if we create awareness among people, among teenagers, among couple who are in their marriageable age group about the possible birth control options, then we can put a break to the ever expanding population of our country. So principally it all boils down to lack of awareness or lack of education. The 15th question asks us about the current growth rate. The current growth rate is less than 2, okay, less than 2%. So if you talk about the current growth rate, it is said that the population may double once every 35 years. So therefore this is a very a theoretical question. So it is based on a fact that with respect to the current growth rate, we can see that the population can double once every 35 years, which is a very, very alarming rate. So with this, we will wrap up the problem solving or the practice questions for this session of NEET crash course. Thank you.